Have you ever sat at the kitchen table, cuff on, machine humming, and thought, why is my blood pressure so high today? I feel fine. You're not alone. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that same story from smart, careful people who take their health seriously. The truth is, your home blood pressure number can play tricks on you if a few little details are off. The good news is, small tweaks can turn confusing, scary readings into helpful, accurate ones you can trust. And when you know your real numbers, you make better decisions, you worry less, and your doctor can actually see what's happening at home instead of guessing from one reading in the clinic. So today, we're going to walk through 4 common blood pressure mistakes people make at home and how to fix each one. By the end, you'll know exactly what to do to get reliable, steady readings every time. Let's start with the most basic one, because it can throw off everything that comes after it. Using the wrong cuff or wearing it the wrong way. I know it sounds simple, but think of your blood pressure cuff like eyeglasses. The wrong size makes everything blurry. A cuff that's too small can make your reading look higher than it really is, sometimes by 10, even 20 points. A cuff that's too big can make it look lower. That's a big deal if you're deciding whether to take a pill or call the doctor. So how do you get it right? First, aim for an upper arm automatic cuff from a brand that says clinically validated. Wrist and finger monitors can work in a pinch, but they're much picky about position and often read wrong if your arm or wrist isn't exactly where it needs to be. If you already own a wrist monitor, don't panic. We'll talk about how to use it more accurately, but if you're buying one, pick an upper arm cuff. Next, make sure the cuff actually fits your arm. Most cuffs have a size range printed on the fabric. If you're not sure, wrap a tape measure around the middle of your upper arm, halfway between your shoulder and elbow. If the cuff is hard to close or digs into your skin, it's probably too small. If it slides around or you can fit several fingers between your arm and the cuff even when it's snug, it's likely too big. And here's a little trick that makes a big difference. Always place a cuff on bare skin. Don't put over your sweater. And try not to roll a tight sleeve up your arm so it squeezes right above the cuff. That acts like a tourniquet and can raise your numbers. Slip your arm out of the sleeve or wear something short-sleeved. You'll get a cleaner reading and you'll be more comfortable. Pay attention to the cuff's mark that shows where the tube should run along your inner arm. That spot should line up roughly with your pulse, the soft area just inside your bicep. If the tube ends up on top of your arm or off to the side, the machine may struggle to sense your blood flow. One last thing before we move on, your device needs a little TLC too. Weak batteries, a kinked tube, or dust in the valve can make it act funny. If the screen is dim or you hear it working harder than usual, pop in fresh batteries. Use a soft cloth to wipe the cuff. Little bits of maintenance give you big peace of mind. Now, let's talk about the second mistake, which is all about how you sit and what your arm is doing. This one is sneaky because you might feel perfectly relaxed yet still be set up for a bad reading. Imagine trying to weigh yourself while holding a grocery bag. That's what your body does to your blood pressure when you don't sit the right way. Your blood pressure is measured at the level of your heart. If your arm is dangling by your side or up in the air, the machine has to guess, and it usually guesses high. Here's a calm, simple setup that works beautifully. Sit in a chair where your back is supported, not on a bar stool or perching at the edge. Put both feet flat on the floor, no legs crossed, no ankles tucked behind the chair. Rest your arm on a table or armrest so the cuff is at heart level. Picture a line from your heart straight out to your elbow. That's about where your arm should be. If the table is too low, tuck a pillow or folded towel under your forearm. Let your hand relax with the palm facing up and your shoulder loose. Not hiked up, Before you press the start button, take a moment. Close your eyes if it helps. Breathe in slowly through your nose and out through your mouth. You don't have to meditate. Just give yourself a quiet 30 seconds to settle. Many people want to chat through the reading, especially if a loved one is helping, but talking can raise your numbers by several points. Even a simple "how's your day" can do it. Let the monitor do its thing in silence. If you get anxious waiting, count your breaths, 1, 2, 3, in slowly, out slowly, and try not to watch the numbers climb and fall. It's like staring at the oven waiting for cookies to bake. It doesn't make the process any faster, and it can make your heart beat a little harder, which bumps your reading. A couple more posture tips that make a surprisingly big difference. Keep your feet on the floor, not dangling or propped on a footstool. Dangling legs can tense your muscles and raise the reading a few points. Make sure your back is supported. Put a cushion behind you if the chair is too deep, and choose one arm, usually the left, and stick with it. If you've never compared, check both arms on the same sitting, with a few minutes between, and use the arm that runs higher. It's normal for one arm to be a bit different than the other. The key is to be consistent, so your doctor can compare apples to apples. If you have a reason to avoid one arm, say a surgery, a fistula, or lymphedema, ask your clinician which arm is safest, and always use that one. For those of you using a wrist monitor, the rules are even more strict. Your wrist must be held at heart level, straight and steady, and not bent up or down. An easy way is to rest your elbow on the table and bring your forearm across your chest so the wrist lines up with your heart. Keep your fingers relaxed. Don't clench a fist. If your reading seems odd, check your position first. 9 times out of 10, the wrist is too low. This is where accuracy starts to feel like a routine you can trust. When the cuff is the right size and in the right place, and your body is supported and quiet, the machine finally gets a clear look at what's really going on. It's a lot like taking a good photograph. Steady hands, good light in the right lens. And just like a good photograph, the picture you get is worth something. It lets you and your doctor see whether your medicine is working, whether your numbers are creeping up, or whether you're actually doing just fine and don't need to worry. If any of this sounds like too much to remember, try turning it into a little ritual. Keep the cuff in a basket near a comfortable chair with a small pillow, a pen, and a notebook. Sit down, set your feet, rest your arm, take a breath, press start. The whole thing takes a few minutes, and it's one of the simplest, most powerful ways to take charge of your health at home. Once you feel how steady your numbers become, you'll wonder how you ever did it any other way. There's one more piece of the accuracy puzzle that people often overlook, and it can swing your numbers just as much as a tight cuff or cross legs. It has to do with what you do in a half hour before you measure. The little everyday habits that seem harmless but nudge your blood pressure up when you're not looking. Let's ease right into that. Because once you line up your routine with your readings, everything starts to make sense. Those little habits in a half hour before you press start can tilt your numbers without you feeling a thing. Picture this. You climb the stairs with a laundry basket. Your heart's beating a bit faster. You sip the last of your coffee. You answer a quick phone call. Then you sit and take your blood pressure. The machine isn't measuring your usual pressure. It's measuring a moment shaped by caffeine, movement, and a stirred-up nervous system. That's why people see higher numbers in the morning and feel spooked, when really it's just a timing. A calmer routine makes all the difference. Give yourself 5 quiet minutes before you measure. Not rushing, not fixing something in the kitchen, not reading the news. Just sit, breathe, and let your body settle. If someone is with you, ask them to hold questions for a minute. Think of it like letting a snow globe's flakes fall. so you can see clearly through the glass. That short pause is your clearing. Now about coffee and tea. Caffeine can bump your numbers for a good 30 minutes, sometimes more. If you like your morning cup, enjoy it, then wait. The same goes for soda and energy drinks, but most folks aren't sipping those first thing. Nicotine also nudges your pressure up. If you smoke or use nicotine in any form, give it at least a half hour before checking. This isn't about judgment. It's about a fair reading that reflects your everyday baseline, not a temporary spike. Exercise and chores count too. Even light activity, watering plants, carrying groceries, making the bed, can raise your heart rate enough to push the numbers up for a bit. That's not a bad thing. It means your body is doing what it should. But for measuring, you want a steady state. If you've been moving, sit and relax for a few minutes before you start. The same goes for coming in from a walk or gardening. Take a moment, maybe sip some water, and let your breathing come back to its resting rhythm. Let's talk about the bathroom, because this one surprises people. A full bladder can raise your blood pressure by 10, even 15 points. If you're due to go first, then take your reading. It's such an easy fix, and it instantly makes your numbers more trustworthy. Also consider temperature. If your hands are cold or you're sitting by a drafty window, your blood vessels tighten and nudge the reading up. Warm your hands under the tap or drape a light sweater over your shoulders. Then measure. Comfortable body, comfortable numbers. Meals are a bit different. A big meal can actually lower your blood pressure for a while as blood flows to your digestive system. That's why some people feel a little sleepy after lunch. If you're logging your numbers for your doctor, it helps to measure before eating, especially in the morning, so your readings aren't swayed by a heavy breakfast. If you take blood pressure medicine, many clinicians prefer you check before you swallow your morning dose, then again in the evening before dinner or before bed. If your doctor is giving you specific instructions, follow those. The idea is to get a picture of your body under similar conditions each time, so you can see patterns without all the noise. Strong emotions can swing your numbers as surely as a cup of coffee. A tense phone call, an upsetting headline, a worry about a loved one. Your body responds with a little chemical surge that tightens blood vessels and speeds your heartbeat. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means you're human. You can't avoid every stress, but you can give yourself a minute of calm before you measure. Try a simple breathing trick. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Pause for a second, then breathe out through your mouth for 6. Do that 3 or 4 times. The longer exhale tells your nervous system it's safe to ease up. Many people see their numbers drift down just with that. If you take pain medication, be aware that pain itself can raise your reading. If your knee is throbbing or your back has been acting up, your body's stress response can show up on the screen. When possible, check at a time of day when your pain is better controlled, or at least jot a quick note next to your number so you and your doctor remember what was going on. Notes like, bad knee today, just had coffee, or argue with the cable companies sound funny, but they explain a lot when you look back. TV and conversation can creep in here as well. Watching a gripping show or the evening news might get your pulse up without you noticing. Save the measurement for a calmer moment. Turn the volume down, rest your eyes, and let that 5-minute quiet time be truly quiet. If you like, play soft music or listen to a peaceful sound, like a fan or a gentle nature app. Whatever helps your shoulders drop and your jaw unclench is your friend. For anyone using a wrist monitor, remember that preparation matters even more. Wrist devices are sensitive to tiny changes in position and tension. If you're clenching, crossing your legs, or holding your arm up in an awkward way because you're distracted, the reading will reflect that. The 5-minute settle helps your muscles soften so you can keep your wrist at heart level without strain. Sometimes a mistake isn't about doing something wrong. It's about inconsistency. One day you measure right after climbing the stairs. The next day you do it in a quiet chair after breakfast. The next day you try in the car before going into an appointment. You end up with numbers that don't make sense together, like puzzle pieces from different boxes. Choosing a regular time and a simple routine brings those pieces into the same picture. For most people, first thing in the morning after using the bathroom and before medication or breakfast, and then again in the evening before bed, or at least several hours after dinner, works well. If mornings are hectic, pick another calm time you can stick to. Consistency is kinder to your nerves and kinder to your heart. A quick word about hydration. Being dried out can make you feel lightheaded when you stand and can play tricks on your readings, especially if you're taking diuretics. You don't need to chug water before measuring, but staying reasonably hydrated through the day helps your body stay steady. If your doctor has you on a fluid restriction, of course, follow that. The point here is steadiness, not more or less water right before you sit down with the cuff. And if anxiety itself is a drag in the room, give yourself permission to take 2 quiet tries. Not 2 measurements back to back in a panic, but a gentle start over. Sit for 5 minutes. Take a reading, then rest another minute and take a second. If the second one is lower, that's your body settling. You can jot both and average them, or just record the second if that's what your clinician recommends. Knowing you have a second chance often takes the pressure off the first, and you'll see that in the numbers. All of these small steps aren't about being perfect. They're about giving yourself a fair shot at true reading. Think of it like tasting a soup before you add salt. You want to know what it really needs. When your routine is calm, consistent, and kind to your body, your monitor becomes a useful tool instead of a source of stress. You'll start to notice that the wild swings soften. The story your numbers tell makes sense, and you can actually use that story to guide your choices with confidence. Once your pre-reading routine feels easy, there's a final piece that brings it all together, and it's not complicated. It's about what you do with the numbers you collect, how many to take, when to take them, and how to make them meaningful so you and your doctor can act on them without guessing. When that part clicks, the whole process goes from frustrating to empowering in the best possible way. The biggest trap is chasing a single number. You take one reading, it's a little high, and suddenly the whole day feels off. Or it's low and you think, great, I'm cured, when really your body just had a calm moment. Blood pressure is a living, breathing thing. It moves with you. The way to turn those little waves into a clear picture is to take more than one reading and look at the average, not the outlier. A simple rhythm works beautifully. Sit quietly, take a reading, rest a minute, then take a second reading. If you're nervous, take a third and jot the lowest of the last 2. Most folks find that the second number is a bit lower as the body relaxes. Those are the numbers to go by. Do that in the morning and again in the evening on a few ordinary days, and you'll have something solid your doctor can actually use. Consistency turns guesswork into confidence. Pick your times and keep them as steady as you can. Many clinicians suggest checking before your morning medicine and breakfast, and again in the evening before bed, or several hours after dinner. If mornings are rushed, choose a different calm time. Just keep it consistent. Try for 3 to 7 days in a row when your doctor asks for a home check. Average those readings and bring that average to your appointment along with your notes. If math isn't your favorite, no problem. Write them down and let the clinic staff average them, or use the memory function on your monitor. Some machines and phone apps do the average for you, but a simple notebook works just as well. A small notebook near your chair can be a quiet kind of power. Jot the date, time, the arm you used, and anything unusual, bad knee day, didn't sleep well, had coffee by mistake, measured after a heated call. Those little clues explain bumps and dips. When you look back, the story makes sense instead of feeling scary or random. I've seen people's shoulders drop just from realizing, oh, that high morning was the one I rushed around, and the rest are steady. The notebook turns a list of numbers into a map you can read. Another piece that gets overlooked is checking your machine against your clinics. Even good devices drift over time, and cuffs wear out. Once a year, bring your monitor to an appointment. Have the nurse or doctor measure your pressure with their device. Then immediately measure with yours on the same arm, same position. The two should be close. If your device is way off, it may be time for a new cuff or replacement. Fresh batteries help. 2. If the cuff fabric is fraying, the Velcro is weak, or the tube is cracked, it's going to struggle. Replacing a worn cuff is a simple fix that can make your readings trustworthy again. What if your numbers jump around more than seems reasonable? Sometimes the machine flashes an irregular heartbeat symbol. That can happen if you move, talk, or hold your breath. But it can also mean your heart rhythm is a little uneven, very common as we get older. If you're seeing that symbol often, or your numbers are wildly different from 1 minute to the next, even when you're calm, let your doctor know. Some monitors are better at handling irregular rhythms than others, and your clinician might want to check your heart rhythm or show you a different way to measure. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just paying attention, which is exactly what you should be doing. It also helps to know when not to measure. If you're upset, in pain, or you just hustled in from the car, give yourself time. If you just had a large meal, your pressure can drift a bit lower. If you've been sipping caffeine, it can drift higher. Don't take 10 measurements trying to chase the perfect number. That only feeds worry. Follow your routine. Take 2 calm readings, write them down, and move on with your day. You'll feel better, and your log will tell the truth without extra noise. People often ask, what number should I aim for at home? That's a great question for your own doctor, because targets can depend on your health, your medications, and how you feel. Many clinicians look for home averages that are a little lower than office numbers because you're more relaxed at home, but the exact goal is personal. Make sure you know the range your doctor wants you to aim at and what to do if you're consistently above it. If you get a one-off high number, sit quietly and repeat it after a few minutes. If it stays high, note it and call your clinician during office hours unless you have symptoms like chest pain, trouble breathing, a severe headache, confusion, or vision changes. In that case, don't wait. Seek urgent help right away. Better be safe and get checked than to sit and worry. Here's a simple example of how this looks in real life. Imagine you decide to check your pressure Monday through Thursday this week. Each morning, you use the bathroom, sit in your chair, rest for 5 minutes, then take 2 readings a minute apart. You write down the second one, or the average of the last 2. You do the same in the evening. By Thursday night, you have 8 good numbers. You can see that Monday morning was a little higher. You slept poorly and your knee was sore, but the rest are steady and mostly within your target range. You bring that small page of notes to your appointment. Your doctor smiles because instead of one number from the office, there's a clear picture. Maybe your medication stays the same. Maybe you tweak your dose. Maybe you both agree you're doing just fine. Either way, it's based on real information, not a guess. And if you share your life with a partner or a friend, invite them into the routine. Some couples turn it into a quiet morning ritual. One pours a coffee, the other does the measurements. Both sit together for those 5 minutes of calm. Health doesn't have to be heavy. It can be a small act of care woven into the day. If you live alone, you can still make it feel kind and comforting. Keep your chair by a sunny window. Play a favorite song. Treat those minutes as a gift to yourself. You're not just collecting numbers. You're building trust in your own body. You've now got the tools to make your home readings accurate, steady, and useful. The right cuff on bare skin, a supported body and quiet breathing, a calm routine that avoids little triggers, and a smart way to record and average the numbers so you see the truth, not the noise. None of this requires perfection. It's about small, repeatable steps that add up to better health. When you measure well, you make better choices. You catch problems earlier. You skip a lot of needless worry. And you give your doctor exactly what they need to help you feel your best. I'd love to hear how you do it at home. Do you have a favorite chair, a tip that calms your nerves, or a story about a number that finally made sense once you changed your routine? Share in the comments so others can learn from you. If this was helpful, tap like. It tells the YouTube elves to show this to more people who might need it. And subscribe for more simple, practical health tips you can actually use. Remember, your heart is listening to how you live. With a few gentle habits, you can guide it towards steadier days and quieter numbers. Here's to feeling confident, informed, and in charge at every age.